Yes, guys, I'm Si from Ace Podcast Nation. This is Cardiff City World.
It's been almost 25 years since I first met Sam Hamman, and what a wild, unpredictable ride it was when he owned Cardiff City. Mountain man Sam from the town of Shuia, high above Beirut in the Lebanon and overlooking the Mediterranean, was Bluebird's owner for 6 years and showed he was an emotional man, full of passion, who could be disgracefully vulgar at times and incredibly thoughtful at others. He always seemed to be full of mischief, or worse. During his time in South Wales, I experienced him yelling the most disgusting swear words at me, crying floods of tears in despair, laughing at his own pranks, and more. Sam had a strong personal belief in his Cardiff City views. While he was also, in my experience, a man who would admit it when he was wrong. There are so many sides to Sam, a complex character who basically wanted to enjoy life and be loved. He was at times obnoxious, foul-mouthed and arrogant, yet he could also be a friend to be treasured, a charming man and fun-loving football nut. When he learned my parents lived in Great Yarmouth, just before City travelled to play Norwich City, he issued an invitation for them to take their place in the director's box at Carrow Road alongside him. My mum and dad, of course, were thrilled. Then, after my father passed away, Sam ordered a huge bunch of flowers to be sent from the club, along with suitable condolences, and on top of that, he also sent a personal message along with a second bouquet. Both were sent to my dad's funeral in the seaside town of Great Yarmouth, 20-odd miles from Norwich. Sam was and is a man who showed great love for his family members. I still talk to the former Bluebirds boss now and again when he rings my mobile, and he remains full of passion for Cardiff City and Wales. Pride of place in Sam Hamman's private office at Ninian Park was a picture of a canoeist battling against white water. Underneath was the slogan, "A winner never quits, a quitter never wins." Hamman's mother had presented him with the picture many years before. To one side, in his mother's handwriting, is a personal message saying, "One never quits trying too hard for his aims. Keep fighting the waves until you reach your peaceful shore." The picture, and I can't remember whether it was a painting or a photograph, although I believe it was the latter, was treasured by Hamman. When things didn't go as well as hoped, Hamman took strength and comfort from his mother's words. Hamman's office was at the end of a long corridor behind reception at Ninian Park, past the manager's office, home dressing room and physio's treatment room. Turn right near Hamman's office, which was previously the stadium home for managers like Frank Burrows, Kenny Hibbett and many others, and you walk past the boot room and back outside the ground towards Sloper Road. Away from Ninian, Hamman loved nothing better than to walk around lakes, hills and mountains in Wales with City supporters. He had a close band of supporters he talked to on a regular basis and spent hours walking and talking with them about the club. Time and again he came up with ideas. He talked of changing the name to Cardiff Dragons or Cardiff Celts, later changing his mind when he spoke to those close to him or on one of his walks or at regular pub get-togethers with hundreds of fans. Yes, there were times when I joined the group of Bluebirds fans on their walks in and around the valleys. In this latest history column, I pick out some memorable moments from Sam's time at Ninian Park. Number 1, my splashing time at Ninian. Before his 2001 season started, 6 months ahead of Sam Hamman's arrival in South Wales, I gave the club permission to throw me in the River Taff. In a South Wales Echo article, I wrote, "If the Bluebirds manage 10 league wins in the new campaign, they can throw me in the river." City, after all, had been relegated in the previous campaign, having earned only 9 league victories. When Sam took charge, my Echo story was pointed out to him, and it appealed to his sense of fun. He didn't go the river route, but recruited volunteers to soak me when I arrived, throwing water over me as I walked up to Ninian Park for an FA Cup tie against Crewe in January. A number of fans stepped forward to take on the task, including Anis Abraham, Julian Jenkins and Steve Day. It seemed to me, though, they enjoyed it far too much. The Echo had been tipped off. A photographer was present for the big moment, and a report appeared in the newspaper saying, "Bemused City fans looked on as Echo chief sports writer Terry Phillips gets a soaking outside Ninian Park before the FA Cup tie against Crewe." In an Echo column to be thrown into the River Taff if Cardiff City won 10 league games over the season. With 13 victories so far, his comeuppance was overdue. Terry was spared being tipped into the river during January, but the soaking he promised to endure was carried out. Several buckets of water drenched him outside the ground. Ever the professional, Terry found a change of clothing in time to take his place in the press box for the cup match. The game against Crewe ended 1-1 in front of 13,403 spectators. Scott Young scored for the Bluebirds, who lost the replay at Crewe's Gresty Road ground 2-1 a few days later. Number 2, Sam in tears. I rang Cardiff City's owner on his car phone during January 2001, and he was clearly in floods of tears. My reaction, of course, was instant concern. Sam was an emotional man, but this was not like him at all. Awful news of the Twin Towers terrorist attack in New York was just breaking. Awful news of the Twin Towers terrorist attack was just breaking, and people throughout the world were stunned. For Sam, it was far more personal. He revealed that his 2 children had been in the towers at the time planes flew into them, and he was driving up the M4 motorway from Cardiff to London. That was an awful moment. I was at a loss for words and struggled badly in an attempt to try and console him. That was, of course, impossible, because he didn't know what had happened to his grown-up son and daughter. Thankfully, both emerged safe and sound, but I will never forget that mobile telephone conversation with Sam. Number 3, foul-mouthed rows with City's owner. Twice I went toe-to-toe with Sam when he was angry over something I had written. On the first occasion, he walked in when I was sitting in the boardroom at Ninian Park chatting to Chief Executive David Temmie. Sam had, if I remember correctly, driven to Cardiff from London and was far from happy to see David and I talking. He let fly in the way only Sam seemed able to achieve. 4-letter words and obscenities flew as we clashed verbally. Sam was using the worst swear words imaginable, and I retaliated in kind. Both of us were shouting, while David and a female secretary, who came in to see what the row was about, looked on without a word during a 10-minute confrontation. We parted on bad terms. Around 2 hours later, I was back in the South Wales Echo office and was told to ring Sam on another subject. "Terry, baby, how are you?" said a jovial Hamman as he answered the phone. He rarely, in my experience at least, held a grudge. Harsh words were said, but they were now in the past. On the second occasion, Hamman refused to believe me when I told him where a story had originated from, and again, we traded words in childish fashion. I stood my ground with the furious Hamman, and eventually, after another 10-minute row, I said, "Sam, on my daughter's life, I am telling you the truth." The change in City's owner was instant. I accept everything you have told me," he said, his commitment and belief in family shining through, and immediately started talking about another subject. The incident was forgotten, and neither row has ever been mentioned since. Hamman once told me he would have been back living in the Lebanon had it not been for the Bluebirds. "The fans of Cardiff City have cast a spell on me," he said. Number 4, balmy day in manager's office. Alan Cork followed Billy Eyre and Bobby Gould into the manager's office, and on Corky's first day at Ninian Park, he was joined by Dolly the sheep and her pal. Hamman welcomed Cork into his new role during October 2000 by borrowing 2 sheep from the nearby City Farm in Cardiff and shut them in the manager's office. Former Bluebird Danny Gabidon remembers it well, saying, "Sam had just hired Cork to replace Bobby Gould, and on his first day in the job, our new manager walked into his office to find sheep waiting there for him. Sam had somehow managed to source a sheep from somewhere to greet Alan as he walked through the door. The animals, of course, were not house-trained and did what comes naturally in his office." Number 5, Follow the Dream. Sam published his own booklet entitled Follow the Dream, an overview of 2000, after linking up with Cardiff City. It was a 16-page publication circulated among supporters, and he wrote, "It cannot be happening, but it is. I am in a trance, dazed, swept off my feet, gobsmacked, or perhaps hypnotised. Having recently come out of a 22-year love affair with another club, Wimbledon will always be my baby. I never thought I would fall in love again, but I have. How did it happen? You, the fans of Cardiff City, have cast a spell on me. The surprising thing is that I have yet to meet a fan, young or old, who do not think Cardiff City are bigger than Liverpool, Manchester United, or even Barcelona, and we will have a 70,000 lockout gate if we are doing well in the Premier League. Is everybody insane around here? The response I have received from you guys and gals has been overwhelming. I am flattered, but I also believe that flattery is great as long as you don't inhale. In other words, thank you very much, but I will not get carried away. The only thing that matters is success on the pitch. Talking the talk gets you nowhere. Walking the walk does." Number 6, Walking Behind the Goal. He followed that booklet with a second titled Tough Times Never Last, People Do. Sam wrote about his tendency to take a stroll behind a goal during matches, saying, "Going behind the goal is a personal habit I have been doing for many years. Everybody in football knows that. I have an intense and committed disposition, and on a match day am very nervous. I believe I pump more adrenaline than any of the players. I wake in the morning of a match at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Many times I cannot watch the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of a game, and in some cases go to the Cardiff dressing room at away matches or my bunker at home and listen to the roar of the crowd. Over the years, I found that if I keep moving or am at the centre of things, the tension goes, so I slowly developed the habit of going behind the goal. I cannot describe to you the sensation of seeing our team score with the ball coming straight at me. I feel I am sucking it in, willing it in. I never talk to the keeper and always maintain a distance of 4 metres behind the goal line. For the Leeds United game in the FA Cup, when Cardiff City won 2-1, I went before kick-off, produced a placard with the words, "Welcome Leeds." I was pleasantly surprised when the away fans cheered me in a big way. I acknowledged them back and was satisfied I had established something good with them. During the second half, Leeds were defending the Grange End goal, so I commenced to walk behind that goal and did the Ayatollah, which is the normal way Cardiff fans greet each other, and they always ask managers, players and myself to do so. I was also making them cheer more for our team. I see nothing wrong with that. So I made my walk when the score was 1-1, and when, through long experience, thought it was all right. When I passed Leeds fans, I found some of them hostile and quickly moved on. When we scored our second goal and thought it was best to go back to the stand, I deliberately avoided going the short route that would have taken me in front of Leeds fans, because I rightly thought they may be upset at losing at the time. Route, and along the way acknowledged the fans as usual. It is my sincere opinion I have done nothing wrong. I was certainly not doing something that was not agreed with the relevant authorities or something I have done for many years with no problems. Sam faced criticism for his walk and came to a decision, saying, "I decided I will not walk behind the goal anymore for first team games," he said. "Nobody asked me to decide that. I decided to do it after consultation with two media people I respect. I feel hurt, but if I go behind the goal, then it would have become the main news rather than the game, and that is not fair. I am satisfied I have done the right thing, and that is that." Number 7, Sam's meeting with Swansea supporters. Soon after his arrival at Cardiff City, he set up a meeting with Swans fans at Pontardawe Football Club. He spoke of his vision for all Welsh soccer supporters to band together. A die-hard Swansea fan said later, "Wouldn't you just love to have him at your club? He is a real fans chairman." At around the same time, a long-standing Bluebirds fan said, "For 30 years we've been promised so much and seen nothing. He has given us hope, and by God we need that hope more than most. I love the man." Number 8, Sam's Bar. One momentous meeting with the city owner came at Sam's Bar, now renamed Peppermint, on the corner of St Mary Street and Mill Lane in Cardiff Centre. The main man and a new signing were sitting together at an outside table when I arrived. The player was Republic of Ireland midfield player Graham Kavanagh. It was a warm, sunny early evening during June 2001, and Cardiff had splashed out £1 million to buy Cav from Stoke City. It was a pleasant meeting, personally a hugely worthwhile chat between club owner, new signing and the local journalist. Extremely pleasant. Number 9, Pryor arrangement. Defender Spencer Pryor joined Cardiff City in a £700,000 transfer from Manchester City after the Citizens had clinched a place in the Premiership under manager Joe Royle. It was a memorable transfer completed just before Kavanagh arrived in South Wales because owner Sam insisted on crazy clauses in the player's contract. The centre-half agreed to terms which stated he had to eat both the brain and testicles of sheep along with a raw liver in blood. It was, of course, a joke thought up by prankster Sam, who invited Cardiff supporters to Hamman in the Valleys to underline that the clauses were indeed in Pryor's legal agreement. The official football club chef was in charge of food preparation in Hamman, and many fans thought they were enjoying a sheep meal in pita bread. The chef admitted to me, though, that the meal was in fact chicken. Extremely tasty it was too, but there were certainly those present struggling to eat it. Extremely tasty it was too, but there were certainly those among us struggling to eat the food laid on by the club. Sam explained the prank, saying, "It's simple. With Spencer being non-Welsh, he needs to prove to the people of Wales that he understands the place, that he can become a true leader. Everybody knows about the Welsh and sheep. Spencer must show he loves Wales. We even gave Spencer an inflatable sheep to take home with him." Former Wimbledon chairman Sam was no stranger to madcap behaviour after his time with the Plough Lane Crazy Gang at Wimbledon. "It must be the strangest contract in the history of football," said Spencer, "but I'll try anything once." Sam is from the Lebanon, where sheep's testicles are considered a delicacy, and he said, "Spencer refused to eat them raw, but agreed to eat them cooked. We'll serve them in a lemon and parsley sauce." Pryor spent 3 years with the Bluebirds and made 96 senior appearances, helping City win the Division 2 playoffs and the FAW Premier Cup. Number 10, Bluebirds fan. Lenny Lawrence and I normally chatted to each other on a daily basis, sometimes during evenings or occasionally by phone as the City manager drove from his London abode to South Wales. We would chat about all aspects of the team and discussed which could be used in the South Wales Echo and information which he would like to be kept quiet for a time. Lenny and I only fell out badly once, and that was when Cardiff signed Fan Ziyi, a Chinese defender who won more than 100 senior caps for his country. Ziyi joined City during 2002-03, arriving in December, and he signed at a time when Sam was far from happy with me for some reason which I cannot remember. He ordered his manager not to tell me about Ziyi, and Lenny reluctantly agreed to keep it quiet. Yes, I missed the story. Man-to-man conversation about the fact that he had told me nothing was going on at Cardiff City. After our frank discussion, though, he agreed he would never mislead me again, and he stuck to that. We came up with a compromise that if he was unable to answer a question at any time, he would simply say, "I cannot tell you that." It was a phrase I only heard once, but Lenny was true to his word and made sure I understood immediately. Number 11, player pranks. When the Bluebirds squad arrived at University Playing Fields, Rumney, where they had their training headquarters, Sam used to love playing jokes on players. He would pay local residents to carry out pranks, including letting down car tyres in the sports ground car park, piling leaves and plants on top of players' motors, and more. I do believe the squad carried out a revenge raid on Sam's own car. Number 12, Bobby in the bush. When Sam Hamman first bought the Bluebirds, he sent Bobby Gould on a spying mission to Republic of Ireland, where they were on a pre-season tour. They were playing their first match of the trip, I believe it was in Longford, and Gould tried to conceal himself in bushes close to the pitch. It was an open ground, not at Longford's usual stadium, and Gould, who could watch the match comfortably from his position, was keen to stay incognito. Unfortunately, he was seen early on, and fans were walking past saying, "Hello, Bobby." Gould was, of course, later appointed Cardiff City manager.